Most people think awareness makes life easier. Jung discovered the opposite. The individuals who suffer the most aren't weak. They're the ones who are most awake. If you've ever wondered why life feels heavier for you, why you notice everything, feel everything, and sense the truth beneath people's masks, Jung had a name for you: the painfully conscious. Highly aware people see emotional tensions others miss, detect hidden motives instantly, and recognize patterns before they unfold. But this clarity comes with a cost. Overwhelm, isolation, and a depth of perception society isn't ready for today. You'll learn why highly aware people suffer the most and what Jung believed they're truly meant for. You carry your emotions like a quiet storm. You know it because you are one of the awake. You walk into a room and feel the temperature change before anyone speaks. You notice the tremor behind a smile, the tension behind a laugh, the sadness hiding under someone's mask. Your mind doesn't scan the surface. It scans the truth, and that truth is heavy. Here's the part nobody tells you. Emotional intelligence looks calm from the outside, but inside, it's a constant ache, the weight of noticing everything, the fatigue of understanding too much, the loneliness of seeing through people who can't see themselves. You've spent years carrying pain that wasn't yours, being the therapist in a world that refuses therapy, dimming your intensity so others don't feel exposed. Slowly, without choosing it, you slipped toward the edges of society, not out of weakness, but self-preservation. You became quieter, more selective, more observant, more hidden. Your disappearance is not a failure. It's the first symptom of a deeper psychological shift you were never taught to name, but that's only the beginning. Here's the secret Jung would whisper: awareness activates the shadow. Most people live inside their persona, the polite version of themselves built for survival. But you've always seen through masks, and when you see through others, you inevitably see through your own. The shadow steps forward, not as a monster, but as everything unexpressed, unspoken, uncomfortable. It whispers truths you wish you didn't know. It reveals fractures long before they break. It exposes the fragile agreements holding people together. And that's when things get brutal. You stop projecting. Most people survive by throwing their wounds onto others. You turned inward instead. And once you face your shadow, you can no longer pretend. You feel the unlived life, a ghost that grows louder the more awake you become. It haunts the gap between who you are and who you were meant to be. Then comes the deepest cut. Awareness often comes from trauma, even silent trauma. Not dramatic, not obvious, just enough to train your psyche to detect patterns, scan emotions, sense danger. You learn to notice before you learn to speak. And now noticing is your native language. This is where most people break. Stay with me. Highly aware people don't suffer because the world is cruel. They suffer because awareness removes the illusions that protect everyone else. Most people survive by not knowing, by filtering, by staying unconscious. But your mind doesn't filter. It absorbs. You see the cost behind people's behavior, when fear becomes a lie, when love becomes attachment, when attachment becomes control, when control becomes resentment, when resentment becomes the quiet exit months before the goodbye. This is emotional intelligence without anesthesia. And here's the dangerous part. The more aware you are, the lonelier your path becomes. Not because you lack connection, but because very few people can meet you at the depth where you naturally live. Your conversations become oceans to people who only know shallow water. Your insights feel like storms to people who crave clear skies. Society doesn't want truth, it wants comfort. Society wants noise. You want truth. That's the fracture. People fear you because you see them. Not the version they perform, the version they avoid. You've watched people pull back not because you were wrong, but because you saw too much. This is the hidden price of awareness. You walk through a world designed for sleep. But awareness is not meant to destroy you. It's meant to reshape you. Here's the turning point. Your awareness is not a flaw. It's a skill, a compass, a calling. The same sensitivity that once overwhelmed you becomes your radar. Your depth becomes your clarity. Your intuition becomes your protection. And something shifts. You stop apologizing for seeing clearly. You stop shrinking to make others comfortable. You stop dimming your perception to avoid threatening people who live in denial. Awakened people don't walk away because they're cold. They walk away because they can't participate in dynamics that depend on lies. And in that moment, you stop suffering from awareness and start living through it. Awareness becomes your advantage, your filter, your armor, your intelligence. Because consciousness is never the enemy. Avoidance is. Transformation doesn't end the conflict. Inside you, three forces collide. 1. The self, the conscious you. 2. The shadow, everything suppressed. 3. The unlived life, the future you're being pulled toward. And around these forces is society, pressuring you to stay predictable, tame, small. The self wants authenticity. The shadow wants expression. The unlived life wants birth. Society wants compliance, and you're holding all of them at once. Most people never experience this war. They live inside one part of themselves. You live inside all of them simultaneously. This is why you feel torn, stretched, conflicted, as if you're living multiple lives at once. Awareness shows you the architecture of your psyche, the scaffolding behind your thoughts, the pieces built from survival instead of truth. And then comes the hardest question: which part of you is real? The answer isn't simple, not peaceful, not clean, because the real you is not one part, but the tension between all of them. Awareness means learning to live with the conflict instead of trying to erase it. Here's the part nobody teaches you. Awareness doesn't give answers. It gives sight, and sight demands you walk differently. Your path isn't about being happier. It's about being truer. You stop scanning the world and start scanning your own inner architecture. You stop abandoning yourself in relationships. You stop absorbing emotions that weren't yours. You stop shrinking to make others feel safe. You stop treating intuition as a burden. You begin choosing conversations that nourish you, people who can meet your depth, environments that don't suffocate your inner voice. Awareness is not a curse. It is sovereignty. You were never meant to be a sponge. You are meant to be a lighthouse, a presence that illuminates without absorbing. Your path begins the moment you realize you don't need to be understood. You only need to be aligned. Here's the twist. Highly aware people don't suffer because they're weak. They suffer because they're being initiated. Every heartbreak sharpened your instinct. Every betrayal refined your perception. Every fracture taught you to see the architecture of human nature. You weren't being destroyed. You were being prepared. Prepared to spot manipulation. Prepared to sense lies. Prepared to trust your inner voice again. Prepared to break the systems that once controlled you. And here's the twist inside the twist. The suffering ends the moment you stop trying to fit into a world you were meant to see through. Awareness was never meant to make you comfortable. It was meant to make you free. And now that you see the hidden threads beneath everything, you're no longer trapped inside the maze. You're the observer. And once you reach this point, awareness stops feeling like suffering and starts feeling like destiny. If this opened something inside you, comment, "I see the thread." Those who know will know. And if you want to go deeper into the hidden patterns behind manipulation, power, and psychological influence, read my ebook, The Dark Thread We've All Been Tied To. Link in the pinned comment.